We're starting on the Regulation E ladder with none other than Dipplin, the new somewhat evolved Pokemon in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that's a new Applin evolution despite not technically being fully evolved due to the fact there is hidden code for a new Dipplin evolution coming in the Indigo Disc DLC. We're going to see if we can get some wins with this Pokemon since it has a pretty sick ability and an okay move pool. If you guys enjoy, of course, and want to see more content like this, like and subscribe for more, and let's get into the team that we'll be using today. Our first Pokemon on the team is, of course, none other than Dipplin, with a Supersweet Syrup, Pollen Puff, Recover, and Protect moveset, with the Tera Water to help with different ice weaknesses to any Pokemon not named Iron Bundle. Meanwhile, we can also just in general get a pretty good defensive typing that will hopefully benefit us a lot overall. Dipplin's ability Supersweet Syrup should be pretty useful for weakening the opponent's evasion by one stage for both Pokemon. However, at the same time, this can only be used once per game, so we do need to time it pretty carefully. Though our next Pokemon, which will be the most likely abuser of this ability, should hopefully be a late game cleaner, which could make this a lot easier, being Empoleon, which takes advantage of a moveset consisting of Flash Cannon, Ice Beam, Vacuum Wave, and Hydro Pump with an Assault Vest today. Overall, this Empoleon should be pretty useful. It's going to be a really bulky set that can take advantage of our Trick Room, with the Tera Grass being an overall strong defensive typing that will help get rid of weaknesses to types like Ground, for example. This Pokemon will be a great cleaner, and with a competitive ability, we can not only take advantage of the speed drops from Supersweet Syrup, but we can also make this into a +2 special attack Pokemon every time this move activates, which it does activate at the end of every turn, keep in mind. So not only will Empoleon get a better speed stat for our Trick Room, meaning that we can eventually underpace Pokemon even like Ursaluna, Iron Hands, and all the way down to Torkoal, but we also will boost our special attack by 2 stages every turn. It'll be a little bit difficult to position, but I think it can definitely work if we can get the positioning right. Moving on, we have Bloodmoon Ursaluna with the Tera Water set, with Bloodmoon, Earth Power, Protect, and Calm Mind. Overall, a really strong special sweeper with Trick Room. I do have it designed to 196 special attack, where we can take advantage of the special attack bump, with the rest of the investment in max HP, with 60 in the Phys Def, so that way then we can get a little bit more physical bulk, while we can still take advantage of the perfect health for the Sitrus Berry. We do have a support Torkoal, of course, with Helping Hand, Eruption, Flamethrower, and Protect, with the Charcoal, of course, to boost our fire attacks, and again, minimum speed to make sure that Torkoal can be as slow as possible for Trick Room. Typically, Torkoal does end up running a really strong ground option like Earth Power, or even just some other form of support like Clear Smog. But in this particular case, I have Bloodmoon Ursaluna as a special ground type, so I didn't really feel like I needed it. Moving on, we do a Farigiraf with a Rocky Helmet Tera Fairy set, with Dazzling Gleam, Trick Room, Imprison, and Protect. The 244 Phys Def with the Bold Nature and the 252 HP is designed to try and take hits from any relevant physical Pokemon on the tier, with the 4 in each of our remaining stats just being leftover investment that I didn't really need for any physical calcs. Tera Fairy is great for hits like Urshifu Single, which has been a little bit more relevant in this metagame than Regulation D. Meanwhile, it's also really good for Pokemon like Chien-Pao as well, and overall Armor Tail is just great for blocking opposing priority. Finally, we do have a Life Orb Bloodrain, which is designed to creep all the way up to any sort of speed boosting Roaring Moon, or really just any sort of max speed Roaring Moon, mind you, because it is a relevant speed tier in this format. And with the Sun, we could potentially end up boosting us to a really good late game cleaner, or even just an early game mode with Torkoal and Fluttermane. With Shadow Ball, Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, and Protect with the Tera Fairy and Life Orb, we should deal a ton of damage to opponents and overall just be a really good fast mode for the team. The Rental's going to be on screen as well as with the pace and the Rental in the description below. And with that said, let's get started with today's battles. Howdy y'all, we are back. I know I took a bit of a break might be an understatement. We are back though. There's going to be no short today, frankly, because Dipplin has too short of a moveset, pun very intended, to make a short on. So also I have a lot to catch up on. Shorts will probably return next week, I promise, just not for the next couple days. I want to try and at least focus on getting back to the content, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you do, like and subscribe for more. The like goal on this video is going to be 25 likes. If we can get to 25 likes, that would be great. In terms of the team today, though, we do have a Dipplin team, as I mentioned in the team builder. Should be a pretty interesting comp for our first game back on the ranked ladder. Of course, we're taking on the Dual Ape, actually, Dual Ape, Monkey, yeah, we have the Dual Ape, the Bear, I don't know why I'm getting my animals wrong, Bear, Bird, Hands, and then Bundle. I think that my lead here is pretty easy. I like Farig a lot, actually. It's great in the fake out leads, and I could Tera on the Shifu potentially. And then I kind of like the idea of going with like a Fluttermane lead. Fluttermane can just put up a lot of offensive pressure early on. I'll probably use it as a sack piece, frankly, to get up Trick Room. And I go with Torkoal, and I feel like this isn't the Dipplin game. It's not terrible here, but I'm a little worried with Bundle. I could also go with like, actually, I'll bench Rillaboom actually. Not that Rillaboom's bad, I just think that Empoleon's a little bit stronger for win con here is all. So we'll go with Dipplin and Empoleon. I could have also brought Bloodmoon. Really, I think Dipplin with any of those three is good, because Dipplin is decent as a defensive check if, let's say, for example, I just get nuked turn 1 and I need something for Rillaboom. It's really my only glide response actually on the team at that point, and I could use it to just kind of Pollen Puff up partner slot to win, which is, I think, better mileage than I would have had otherwise. They're going to go with Urshifu Iron Hands. Alright, Urshifu Iron Hands is perfectly fine. They are going to also be the Urshifu Single Strike, which is also perfectly fine. Now, this means that I need to go for the Tera on Farig, which I'm okay with, and I'll go with Trick Room here. My opponent cannot go for Sucker Punch, thankfully, so I'm just going to go for Dazzling Gleam. This should help with any sort of Wicked Blow that I might be taking. If they are Scarf on the Urshifu, then that's fine. At least I know that they're Scarf Urshifu, which should still be fairly easy to check because I can potentially just use Dipplin to break a Focus Sash in tandem with my Farig. Actually, no, they wouldn't be Focus Sash. Then I could just go for the Farig and just go for Gleam even, or just bring an Empoleon and just go for a Raw Attack. But either way, keeping Farig around as well should be pretty useful. They're not going to Tera the Urshifu at minimum. They might Tera the Iron Hands. That should be slower than me potentially. Unless they're really fast Iron Hands, which we can figure that out anyway in the following turn. Not this one because we're going for Trick Room, so my opponent will always outpace me. But in the following turn, we can get that information at the very least. Gleam will go off here. That means that they're not Scarf Urshifu. They are Focus Sash, which is perfectly fine. The hand still takes a ton of damage from that, leading me to believe this is probably Safety Goggles or Sitrus, which yep, they're Sitrus. Very fine with it being Sitrus, because that's a lot easier to kill with Empoleon, as well as with Fergraph, so I'm very, very fine with this. They're going to Wicked Blow and take themselves out with the Rocky Helmet damage, which is perfect. I do anticipate that this means the hands either click Sword Stance this turn or Heavy Slam. I'm very fine with either one. Even if it clicks Wild Charge, I'm honestly okay with that too. They are going to go for Sword Stance, okay. So they were anticipating Trick Room to go up this turn. I'm still very okay with this, in all honesty. Trick Room only does benefit me even while keeping Fluttermane on the field, and I could potentially even just switch into Dipplin, because Dipplin will not take a lot of damage from the Iron Hands. Meanwhile, I could just go for a Gleam, and then if I need to bring an Empoleon, I need to bring an Empoleon. They're going to go into Annihilate here. Annihilate is perfectly fine, actually. Yeah, I go for a Gleam this turn immediately, and then I switch into Dipplin. I think switching into the Dip is going to be good, because most likely Ferg will probably die if I had to guess. Yeah, so if my opponent goes for, like, they would have to dual target Dipplin really to actually kill it, because neither of these mons really have a great way to pressure it, especially while also putting pressure on Fluttermane. So I feel confident that that my opponent will not dual target. I think they're going to take out Fergraph instead, which just means I can bring in Empoleon easier, and even if I keep Fergraph for a little bit longer, that's still really beneficial for me as well, because Fairy just hits this team obnoxiously. So we'll find out this turn if their Iron Hands does end up underpacing my Ferg or not. Either way, it's not really a huge concern because Dipplin will definitely underpace at least. So I'm very fine with this. Evasion Falls, Defiant Pops, that's a little annoying, but I was never switching an Empoleon there because Wild Charge was still potentially very free on a Sword Dance set, and that would have done a lot of damage either way. My opponent is going to Tera, it's probably going to be Hands. No, it's going to be Ape. Okay, Tera Ape is still fine. They're going to be Tera Fire. So Tera Fire on the Ape is still pretty manageable. I can actually kill that with Empoleon, thankfully. My opponent's going to go for Protective Hands, so their Sword Stance Protect. They're probably just Dual Stab. Meanwhile, the Ape is probably going to go for Bulk Up, if I had to guess. It's probably either going to go for Bulk Up or maybe even just Raw Rage Fist, which, frankly, I don't really mind either way. I will say that that Ape is a little bit more annoying now, but it could still be manageable. They're going to go for Rage Fist. Okay, perfect. So they are going to take out my Fergraph. That's great. Oh, they're not even going to take out Fergraph. Really? Wow. That's a weak Rage Fist. Okay, well, I think that my play is just to go for dual target into Hands. Let's see. So I think I go for Gleam here. I definitely go for Gleam here. And then I think I just go for the Pollen Puff. Yeah, go for Pollen Puff into Ferg, I think. I would dual target into Hands, but I think that my better play is just to try and make Ferg stay alive longer, because that will at least potentially mean that if Hands is going for like a Wild Charge, for example, into that spot, it's going to take point from recoil, which is great. They're going to Drain Punch Dipplin. That's a +2 Drain Punch there, keep in mind. That's a 3 KO into Dipplin. This mon is actually kind of bulky. Like, I saw a short actually that Moxie posted where this thing took like Fluttermane hits, 3 Tera, and that's this mon is utterly insane. Pun not, I don't know why I was gonna say pun not intended, because there was no pun to be made there. Okay, well, either way, I can honestly just continue to bully the Iron Hands, which Iron Hands will probably go for Protect. I'm not really too concerned in all honesty. Realistically, I could just bring in the Fluttermane afterwards and just start bullying the Ape that way. I could also just go for Imprison and just force them to target me and get rid of Protect turns, which could be beneficial actually. And then, how many turns of Trigger am I left? How many turns of Trigger? We have 2 turns of Trigger. Okay, so I'm not gonna go for Syrup Bomb just yet. We'll go for Imprison here, and then actually I think I will go for Syrup Bomb into the. I kind of want to go for it into the hands just to verify that it can't do anything. No, I'm not gonna go for that. I'll go for Recover here. I'm gonna go for Recover, yeah, because Dipplin could still kind of be useful. They're gonna withdraw Iron Hands. It's perfectly fine. And they're going to bring in their last Pokemon, which ends up being Rillaboom. Okay, Rillaboom coming in is very okay. So the end of the game is Rillaboom, Iron Hands, and Annihilate. All of which can definitely be handled by my team, albeit the combination is a little bit tough, but as long as I can kill the Ape, actually, their team ends up struggling a lot with Dipplin, which is huge. We're going to go for Imprison. This at least gets rid of Protect from my opponent's end. Meanwhile, I can still go for Protect, which is huge. They're going to go for Pollen. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So at this point, I think I just drop the Ape speed. I know that I am going to boost his attack further, but frankly, it's already at +5. +6 will not really hurt a lot, and especially when I can ensure that Empoleon will outpace, that's going to be more beneficial. So I think I'll go for that, and then I'm going to go for a Gleam here. The Gleam will be my best play, and then I can just go for Syrup Bomb into the Ape, drop its speed, which will be hopefully beneficial. Realistically, just getting this thing slower than Empoleon will be better than trying to reset Trick Room, which I don't think I can do. But this Imprison turn should at least stop my opponent from really getting anything for free, because either they're going to go for Pollen Puff, which won't really matter a lot anyway. Now at the very least, like they're slower now. They're definitely going to be slower, which is huge. Rillaboom is going to have to take this Gleam, which is fine. I'm not really too concerned with Rillaboom going for Gleam, frankly. They're going to go for Rage Fist. Okay, so they're taking Rocky Helmet damage, which is huge. I'm curious what Dipplin's going to go for. What Rillaboom's going to go for. Whether that's going to be, it's probably going to be U-turn if I had to guess, which I'm okay with that, because their Annihilate is still going to have to get slower, and it's either going to do that, or it's going to give up any sort of boosts that it has, which I'm very okay with. They're going to U-turn. Okay, they're U-turning into Ape to try to boost Rage Fist damage. I'm very fine with that. That's still very okay. I think I just go for Shadow Ball into Ape. I could also, yeah, I think I just go for Shadow Ball into Ape, because I could just let it get slower and slower and slower until it can't really do anything. I think that Hands will probably not go for like a wild charge. Actually, Hands doesn't even have Fake Out. We know that Hands doesn't have Fake Out. So then, yeah, I think I just target the Ape. Yeah, I know I'm technically boosting attack. I don't really care. Okay. So I could also go for Hydro Pump and Empoleon. I think it's kind of viable here. I think I am just gonna go into Fluttermane though. Yeah, I'm just gonna go into Fluttermane. And I think I'm just gonna go for the Shadow Ball and just pick off the Ape. Yeah, I'm gonna pick off the Ape. If that thing is Protect, let's see, so it probably is Protect in all honesty. I could go for Hands. Killing Hands isn't the worst play in the world here, because I do still have Empoleon on the back. The issue being is that Empoleon doesn't have Protect, and Rillaboom could definitely take that spot out pretty comfortably. But at the same time though, I don't know if I have a better play. I think I need to go for Shadow Ball, and then I need to go for Pollen Puff. And then just try and keep my Fluttermane healthy. They're gonna go for Protect. Okay, unfortunate. I kind of wish I would just target aggressively, but that's fine. Hands pre-SD might not kill, to be fair. It's only going for Wild Charge, and I'm not firing an attack off this turn, so I could maybe get some mileage out of that. They're gonna go for Thunder Punch. Oh, they're not even Wild Charge. Oh, then they definitely don't KO. And then we're healing out, thankfully, which is huge. So between this and the Grassy Terrain turn, we actually are looking pretty good here. Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of set. I could even go as far as letting Dipplin go down, and then going for something like a Syrup Bomb into the Iron Hands. That might not be terrible, though we are kind of fast in Empoleon, and I don't think the Hands is going to be that fast. Okay. We're just going to go for Shadow Ball here, into the Ape, and then I'm going to go for a Pollen Puff, I think, into the Ape as well, just to ensure that it's going to take as much damage as possible. Just because I do kind of need some money. I need this money very much probably yesterday. Wow, okay, Ape took nothing from that. I think this is game. I think this is game in all honesty because Ape is going to claim a free kill here. I think the best case scenario is they kill Dipplin, but I don't think they're going to. Oh, they're going to kill Dipplin. Oh, they're not even going to kill Dipplin. What the fuck? That's a +6 Annihilate. Holy shit, Dipplin. Okay, I'm killing the hands. I'm going to be aggressive for this. We're killing hands. Because I don't think that Ape will go for anything besides Protect here. I think they're going to try and kill my Fluttermane now. So I'm going to Moonblast. I'm going to Moonblast right in Iron Hands, and then I'm going to Pollen Puff into my Fluttermane just to keep it a health. And then we're gonna kind of hope. We're gonna kind of hope. I think that might be enough, though. I will say, I think that might be enough. I could also just go for Recover just in case on Dipplin because we know that we comfortably take. And then, meanwhile, again, Ape is piss slow now. So we're gonna go for Moonblast here, right in Iron Hands. And then I'm gonna go for a Recover this turn. And I'm gonna just try and gain back any health that I can. Can we kill the Iron Hands? Fuck. Okay, so Ape did not go for a Protect here like I thought they would. Ape is still really slow now, though, and Ape can't change that. If Rillaboom doesn't have Fake Out, we might still be fine. The issue being is I need Rillaboom to not have Fake Out, which is probably not going to happen. So I might still lose to that, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Frankly, I don't know if I really had a better play, because I think Dipplin just unfortunately is just too passive is the thing. Like, Dipplin is great at staying alive, but it's too passive. It's too passive. Thankfully, though, the Ape is also lower on evasion, so I can actually just try and take advantage of that with Empoleon, which is huge. I could maybe make this work. Like Empoleon is definitely not a lost cause here, but I'd be lying if I said I thought it would be easy. We're gonna have to just kind of deal some good damage, though. So Dipplin's gonna come in. Well, Empoleon's gonna come in, and then so is Rillaboom. I think I just need a Pollen Puff for Rillaboom and just get damage off. And then again, just hope for no Fake Out. Like I don't have a play into Fake Out, frankly, because my play is always just kill the Ape. Kill the Ape, and we're gonna Pollen Puff here, just for good measure. I could maybe Syrup Bomb just to lower speed, but I don't really think there's a point in that, because either I die or I don't. They're gonna Fake Out. Yep, okay, they're gonna try and kill my Empoleon this turn, which is fair. That's the threat. That is objectively the threat right now. They're gonna Drain Punch. Yeah, that's gonna kill. They're +6. Alright, yeah, that's a game. That's game, unfortunately. It is what it is. We'll see you guys in the second match. Sadly, Dipplin just did not have it in him. Little apple that couldn't, I guess. Can this at least like 2 KO Rillaboom make me feel better? That's like a 4 KO. That did a little bit worse than I would have liked. Yeah, she just failed. Unfortunate. Sorry, little girl. You could not win your game. We'll get a win in the next one though with Dippy. So. Root for Dippy in game number 2. This Mon, it's insane how well it takes hits. It's just unfortunately it's not surviving long enough to deal any reasonable damage. But game number 2 will be better. We'll see you guys then. So Palmod, Empoleon, Arcanine, Tornadus, Sinistcha, and Indeedee. Definitely pretty interesting. I do like the Palmod. It's definitely a forgotten relic, to say the least, of previous gen VGC. I feel like our Trick Room matchup is a lot better than theirs, thankfully. And I think that with a lead of Tornadus and let's see, so I definitely don't think I need Fluttermane in this case. Fluttermane actually feels almost like a liability with that pairing. I do kind of like the idea of going with Bloodmoon in the front, and then going with Empoleon in the back. Empoleon can definitely do some work against my opponent's team. Vacuum Wave is great into them, as well as just my general damage output. I think Dipplin as the last mon could be decent. It'll be great if nothing else to sustain Bloodmoon, and just making sure that my Empoleon also underpaces theirs, which could be valuable. Especially since my opponent does have a nice Trick Room Mirror, I might need to just keep my team alive and in prison, which means that I need to go for Pollen Puff into my Farig. And even just that kind of like a non-damaging sort of combination could be enough to try and stall through my opponent's team enough. So good luck and fun. I'm going to hope for the win, and let's see what my opponent ends up leading off with. They're going to lead off with Tornadus and Empoleon, so they're probably going to try and go for Tailwind, or so they were going to try and stop my Trick Room. Thankfully, Tornadus cannot do that, and their Empoleon is a non-issue for me. So we're going to go for Trick Room here, and then I'm going to proceed to go for Protect on my Bloodmoon. I could also go for Tera, Water, and Calm Mind. That has a lot of merit as well. I don't know if I really need to, though. That might be something we evaluate on the next turn, because I didn't anticipate that they would lead off with Empoleon specifically. But it's not a terrible play for me. Going for the Tera, Water, Calm Mind. Let's see what they go for, though. They go for Rain Dance. Ooh, I might need to go for Tera, Water, Calm Mind. They might be just trying to nuke my, well, they're gonna go for Water Pledge. Okay. Well, I'm very fine with Water Pledge, for the record. Ursaluna protected itself, of course, thank God. Alright. This could be kind of gray. I think for now, I might just go for an Imprison just to try and stop any sort of protection shenanigans. And then I'm going to go for Tera Water and Calm Mind. Tera Water will be great defensively speaking into that Empoleon. Meanwhile, I can also just go for Tera Water Blood Moon. Tera Water Blood Moon into Torn, or even Tera Water Earth Power could be good. I'll go for Tera Water Earth Power just before Empoleon can defensively Tera around that, or even like switch to another Pokemon. I think I might as well just do this. If they bring in the Sinistcha, that's fine on the following turn at least to try and switch around my Earth Power. I'm very fine with that, because I'm just going to target the Torn spot in the next turn, so that way then they can't get up Tailwind on any later interaction when I've lost my Trick Room Setter. For now though, Empoleon will take a ton of damage, that's about half. That's honestly great. Water Pledge will do non-existent damage. That actually is way more damage than I thought it would do, I can't lie. Well, they lost Protect, which is huge. That just means that any move I land will be guaranteed. Leak Wind's not a huge issue with my Sitrus Berry, and the Blood Moon should be able to pick off Torn at bare minimum. They're only helping me as well by dropping my speed, which is great, and I can honestly just go for Gleam on Farig just to break a Sash in case the random mon switches in. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for Gleam here, and then I'll go for Blood Moon. That combination guarantee picks off Torn. There's not a Torn set in the world that takes that, and it cannot even go for a Protect around me either. My opponent also doesn't really have a great means of going for... I mean, they're going to go for like Tera Grass here if I had to guess. Tera Grass? Tera Flying. Okay, close enough. So they're going for the immunity to my ground move, which isn't a huge deal because I'm not even respecting that spot. And if anything, it gets me a better matchup with the Gleam here, so I'm very okay with that. Because Dazzling Gleam will now turn into a neutral hit instead of a resisted one, albeit it wasn't doing a lot of damage anyway, but that's a little bit more than it would have done. So I'm pretty fine with this. They're gonna go for Tera Blast. Tera Blast Flying actually will do a good amount of damage. It's probably gonna do about like a little bit more than Water Pledge, but not a lot. Yeah, about what I expected. About 100. That makes sense in all honesty. Okay. So what are they going to bring in? They're going to bring in Indeedee here. Indeedee's honestly fine. I don't mind Indeedee coming in because, again, I don't think they can kill for Rig, and I've already gotten off some really strong damage with Ursa. Now, I do need to check Trick Room turns at this point because I need to make sure that my opponent cannot just KO. So, we have 2 more turns to Trick Room. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm going to farm a Blood Moon. We're going to go for Dazzling Gleam here, and then I'm going to go for a Protect. Protect should be beneficial for my Ursa, thankfully, since I can still click it and they can't. Their Empoleon's probably AV, though, in all honesty, with how well they took that clean, and especially with Tera Flying. I know that a lot of the AV sets, from what I've seen, have run AV. So I feel like that this Gleam should be pretty good just to get off damage. They're probably going to go for like a Follow Me this turn on Indeedee, maybe a Protect, probably a Follow Me. Maybe even Kill Pulse as well, but I'm not really too sure in that. Jury's out. They'll go for Water Pledge into Farig. Okay, that doesn't kill, thankfully. And they'll go for Psychic into Ursa. They were trying to pick off Ursa that way. Alright. Well, that's fine. My play is just a dual target than Empoleon. Empoleon, I think, is a little bit more threatening with Tera Blast Flying. That could kind of scare my backseater. So we'll go for Gleam here, and then I'm going to go for the Blood Moon. Even if they do follow me with Indeedee, I'm not too concerned with getting a lot of damage on that Pokemon, because frankly, it will be hard to get damage off him in general. They're going to definitely KO both my things here, though. I don't really avoid this, which is fine. There's not really a strong priority mon on the team. And they're going to let me just KO Empoleon anyway with Blood Moon. That's perfect. Okay, that makes my job later on significantly easier. They will probably still kill me with Psychic, and I'm kind of okay with losing Indeedee, to Indeedee at this point, because I can heal up Farig potentially in another turn, which is huge. They're gonna go for Psychic. Yep. Pick off my Ursa. Ursa did its job. It did its job and so much more. They have a Rain Up now to boost my own Empoleon, which is great too. And I might actually just go into Empoleon here, because they shouldn't have a great matchup for that. Yeah, they don't have a great matchup for that. Their best mon is Palmont, which can't even really do a lot to me right now. So I'm gonna go for Palmont. Well, I'm gonna go into Empoleon and then double into, no matter what, I'm gonna double into Dipplin here. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Okay. So, they can't even go for like a Fake Out or a Mach Punch anyway, because of their own Psychic terrain. So that means they're probably gonna go for raw damage here. They're gonna probably do so to try and stop my Trick Room. So be it. Just in case, I'm gonna go hard into Dipplin here. Actually, I'm gonna go for a Trick Room this turn. And then I'm gonna go for my own Dipplin. If they claim the KO, it's fine. I can bring in Empoleon afterwards when, hopefully, I think Psychic Terrain ends. I'm pretty sure Psychic Terrain will end at that point. If not, it'll be like one turn that I need to survive, and I can manage around that. And then I can get Empoleon to try and win. Meanwhile, Dipplin can go for Supersweet Syrup into Palmot. So I'll make it work. We're gonna drop evasion though, which is huge. My opponents now are both -1 evasion, which is just better for me. They'll go for double shock here into the Dipplin that does no damage, and then DD should not be able to kill my. It should not be able to kill my Farig, which now means that Farig is actually a really strong win con at this point. Because it's gonna. Oh shit! They actually killed? That wasn't even a crit, they just killed. Holy shit. I kind of thought that that would take, since, I mean, Farig is a lot of bulk, and it's also a resisted hit. But it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Dipplin might need to carry the end game actually on its own, which I think it can manage. Like, Dipplin definitely just out-damages these Pokemon, thankfully. We're gonna go for Hydro Pump into Palmot, just in case, because that's huge if we can get that damage off. And at minimum, I am gonna go for Super Sweet Syrup into the Palmot as well. Because either it's a great way to break Focus Sash, or worst case scenario, I mean, I can just drop it so it's gonna underpace me, which is good. I'm assuming they probably don't have Ice Punch on the Palmot. I don't even think it gets the move, but even if it does, I think they'll probably more so value like a Revival Blessing, if anything. But they'll probably do it after they kill Dipplin. They're gonna go for Follow Me. Okay, Follow Me is fine. Oh, you know what? Right, they burn Tera, so they can't actually go for Double Shock. That means they have to go for Close Combat, which is good. They're at least dropping defense doing that, which I'm fine with. Okay, so they're Double Shock and Close Combat. They probably did a Fake Out, and they probably do a Revival Blessing as the last move. I kind of just need to take Revival Blessing at this point. But Dipplin might be able to manage, depending on... I mean, it'll be rough, actually. They could just Revival Blessing Torn, and I don't think I could beat that anymore. Diplin's just too passive, unfortunately. Or maybe it just, again, it could just be the team. We're gonna go for Pollen Puff here. We're gonna let them just recover back up to Torn, because again, I can't really do anything else. And DD's just gonna either damage or just let the, yeah, okay. Revival Blessings popped. That's unfortunately endgame when they revive Torn, because I can't stop that. And yeah, Dipplin's just gonna be a little bit not enough. Yeah, damn. Dipplin just not Dipplin today. It's not Dippin. Very unfortunate. It is what it is. We're gonna definitely, I think I'm just gonna forfeit just to save some time. This game is objectively over. And they have a Tornadus in the back. They also just have these two Pokemon right here that are just kind of existing. The Dipplin can only so quickly kill. So it'd be one thing if we had another threat on the field, but unfortunately I do not, and that Palmot being the last thing is a little bit unfortunate for me. I think maybe if I just brought in Dipplin first like I had initially planned, I would have been fine, but sadly going with Empoleon ended up kind of costing me, specifically in that case. So it is what it is. I got too cocky. We'll try and win at least the last game of the day though, so we'll see you guys in that match. Moving on to our final game of the day, potentially, of course, we're taking on Ogrepone, Hearthflame, Pheasantipity, Urshifu, Farigiraf, Iron Hands, and Fluttermane. My opponent definitely has a few really good lead options here. I feel like that my best one is probably just leaning into the Trick Room. Ours should break my opponent. And I think, honestly, a lead of Ursaluna and Farig could be decent. I think that I go with Dipplin, and I kind of want to go with Empoleon or Torkoal. I feel like Empoleon might be a bit safer, actually. It should be pretty decent overall, spamming like Hydro Pump into my opponent. They don't have a great check, especially if the Hearthflame decides to Tera. And a non-Tera Hearthflame is a lot easier to manage, thankfully. Same as the Hearthflame just not coming to this game is a lot more easily managed. So I kind of just need to try and pressure my opponent that way. Obviously, Hearthflame can do some good damage still offensively speaking, but it should be a lot more easy to actually handle taking hits from if they don't Tera them on, because it does significantly less damage without the Tera Fire boost as well as without the attack boost. So we're just gonna have to see what my opponent ends up dealing for us and hoping that we can manage. Good luck and fun to my opponent though, of course. I think that our best play is gonna be try and get up Trick Room and just underpace my opponent with Dipplin and Empoleon. I think Dipplin and Empoleon also can just deal a lot of damage this game, and hopefully we can pull off the combo finally. They're gonna go with Urshifu Single Strike. Alright, Urshifu Single Strike is fine. I will say that's a little bit damning for my team though, because I kind of just need to let something go down. And I will say, I think that could be fine. I think that might not be terrible. No, I'm gonna have to Tera this just in case. I'm gonna Tera, and then I'm gonna go for just to be safe. Even if my opponent does try and predict me right with their Pheasantipity, I think I'm just gonna go for an Earth Power. No, I'll just go for a Blood Moon right into Fez. And I just raw Bloodmoon right into Fez will be good. Well, I could go for that into Urshifu. I don't know if I need to, in all honesty, because Urshifu will break its own Focus Sash anyway, and I could probably just clean that in the following turn. Also, I think if anything, Urshifu might be the mon that's more likely to just get revenge killed by priority, so things like Empoleon Vacuum Wave should be good. For example, they're going to Wicked Blow, perfect, right into Ferriduck. That's the pretty obvious play there was to Wicked Blow, because it's really the only way they have it stopping my strategy at all. They're there for clean here, that's fine. Even if they get poisons, I'm not really too concerned, because my team overall should just deal a lot more damage than theirs will, especially with the trigger positioning up, so I'm pretty fine with this. We get the Gleam, that should at least kill the Urshifu, which is huge, and then we can just take out both Pokemon, thankfully, because Bloodmoon will... Actually, Bloodmoon might not kill, but it will deal a considerable amount, and I don't think my opponent has an immediate way to stop my trigger either with Ferrig next turn, which is huge. So Bloodmoon is going to go off. Can we kill Fez? We deal almost enough to kill Fez, and I can just Earth Power that afterwards. It's not a huge concern. That's probably Sitrus? Nope, it's Leftovers. Okay, Leftovers is fine. That's, honestly, if anything, it's a lot better. Now, they can definitely go for Protect on Fez just to try and stall through some Toxic turns. They're going to go into their own Ferrig. Okay. Own Ferrig is fine. I'm not too scared of it. I will, however, switch out into Dippy, because Dippy at least can probably take hits better from both these Pokemon. And then I am going to go for the Earth Power and just kill Fez. I think Ferrig is a good opportunity here to just go for something like probably like an Imprison and stop the Trick Room. Meanwhile, they could maybe use that turn to then go for Tailwind and try and win con off of something in the back. That could definitely happen, or they could just reverse Trick Room as well. That's a viable play for them too. I just don't know if I'll be able to outpace them and get off my own hit is the issue. So I'd rather just switch out and avoid the Imprison. They're gonna go for Hyper. Okay, that's way more manageable. Thankfully, neither of my Pokemon got poisoned, which is huge. We're about to KO their Fez with Ursaluna, and Dipplin's gonna be able to just chew every hit. Like, even if Dipplin itself hasn't exactly been the biggest player here, it's at bare minimum putting up enough pressure and taking hits well enough to where my opponent just can't break it. It will be a beast that will comfortably exist on the field while I just claim KOs with the Ursa. So I'm very okay with that. Their Ferrig is +1 though, that is a little bit concerning since they're a third sprite. I did make a bit of a misread there, but it still shouldn't be the end of the world. They're gonna have Ogerpon as their last mon. Okay, Ogerpon is fine. I do need to then... Let's see. So I think I need to go for Pollen Puff into the Ferrig at this point. And then I need to go for a... I need to go for Protect on Ursa, because I do need to actually keep that around now. Until my opponent can... Hopefully they kill Dipplin this turn. Because if they kill Dipplin this turn, that kind of works out for me. They're going to Tera on Ferrig. That's actually so good. Tera Ferrig is way better for me, since that's now a Fairy type, and the Ogerpon also now keeping its typing is a lot easier to manage, frankly, for most of my mons, since it's not well, actually no, it's not that it's easier to manage, it's more just that it's dealing a lot less damage, which that is still very fine. They're there for Hornleech. Hornleech gets Protect around, get fucked. Meanwhile, my opponent is probably gonna go for Clean here. Yep, they're gonna go for Dazzling Gleam. +1 Dazzling Gleam might be enough to actually pick off Dipplin. We saw Hyper Voice hit around 50, but that was before Throat Spray and Tera Boost. This might not kill. Yeah, that kills. Okay, thank God. Again, works out much better that they KO there, because I know for a fact that my own Ferrograph will take this hit. So either I can pressure their Ogerpon by claiming a KO here, or I can get up Trick Room, and guaranteed one of those is in my favor. So I'm gonna go for Trick Room here, and then I can even maybe just switch as well. The issue being is I kind of want the offensive play of just dealing a shit ton of damage. So I would rather that they just take out my Ursa, to be honest, because I can pressure them in the following turn anyway. So yeah, I'll just go for Ogerpon here. They're gonna go for Ivy Cudgel, so that's fine. They're gonna have to take helmet damage from this, which is more than enough. Meanwhile, I don't think their Ferrig can at least claim my team, thankfully. And Ferrig should also be fairly resisted by Empoleon, and I think Empoleon can 1v1 that. The issue being is I just need to take this Terrify clean, which I still think I can manage. I feel confident that I can take this hit. What the fuck? That just kills? Oh, right, because it's single turn. Oh, shit. Okay. Damn. Just unfortunate. Just unfortunate. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of... Dipplin was robbed. Nothing kills Dipplin, sure, but it doesn't deal enough damage is the big concern. We're going to go for Hydro Pump, just try and claim Ogerpon if we can somehow take a hit. I think at worst case scenario, I can maybe trade with that and then just lose to Ferrig, which I'm kind of fine with doing. if Ogrevone chokes here, then my play was always just to go for Flash Cannon into Farig, but I don't think they're going to choke. Yeah, they're going to just raw attack. That's fine. It's a neutral hit. It should do a good amount of damage. I just need to hope that I can KO. If I can KO this, then that gives me a chance. We do not KO. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it is makes a lot of sense. Gleam will not kill, sure, but I'm going to die next turn. I'll go for Vacuum Wave in the off chance I somehow critical hit kill this, I guess. We're gonna Vacuum Wave, right? Yeah, they have Armor Tail. Okay, done. I for what it's worth, that doesn't matter anyway. I just died regardless, so the Vacuum Wave didn't really matter. The only way that could have been a beneficial play was if they had like Gudju or something. Armor Tail was always the play there for them objectively, but I kind of had to bank. I didn't have another play at that point than banking. And if I lost the game because my opponent brought Kudju Frig and I didn't make that attack, that would look really silly. This is kind of unfortunate, I can't lie. We had a couple disconnects as well, like in preview, that I ended up getting counted as losses, which just kind of sucks because we technically went 0-5 today with the team, even though 2 of those games I felt confident we could have maybe won. One was a lot more gray. I feel like we could have definitely won the other one though, which is super sad. But it is what it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed anyway. Sorry for the rusty return back to content. Hopefully tomorrow will go a bit better. We do have a surprise tomorrow though. We have our return to Draft League with our very first Week 1 game against Pat Matt going up tomorrow, which should be very fun. So if you guys are enjoying content and want to see more like it, of course, like and subscribe. Again, like goal is 25 for this video. If you want to become a channel member as well, we're going to have a draft analysis going up later today that you guys can check out, of course. Channel members only for the draft analysis, as well as the live builders, which will go up a few hours after each of the matches. So if you want to stay tuned for that, of course, link to that will be in the description, as well as the join button. For our current channel members, of course, we do have Zeke Zero, Mia, Timo Mueller, Rao, Ovo, Johannes B, Double, Endless Gadgets, Bam Bambi, Josh K, Ultra Player, and Incog. Your guys' support is greatly appreciated. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Until then, peace out, guys.